News Now. Hello and welcome to this post-Christmas edition of Nerd News Now. This is Mark. I'm with Kyle and Jay. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. How are you?
Jay is a newbie. He doesn't know what he's in for.
So new.
but I see you have that Hellfire Club shirt on, so you're already 2 steps ahead. Yeah.
I'm a newsstand edition of myself this week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. You know, because it has a barcode, so you can ring me out at the newsstand.
And I just have a Roosevelt's Christmas edition shirt of Star Wars Hoth, which is probably not discernible from this tiny screen.
What it's like outside at my house?
No. Oh, we survived, by the way. It got 18 degrees in Texas, and we're alive.
I had to put air in my tires the other night, and it was -12.
Yikes!
You can keep it.
That was the actual temperature. The air temperature with the wind chill was closer to -40.
That's ridiculous. It was the wind chill was -1 here, I think, on Thursday, and I was wearing Houston Texans gloves, and they weren't working, much like the Houston Texans. So I was just like, well, okay.
Yeah, no, you have to buy special gloves for negative.
Apparently.
Like I've got beanies that I wear like when it's cold out. And then I have my beanies I wear when it's cold out. And then I have my gloves that I wear when it's cold out, and then I have my gloves that I wear when it's cold out. Like 2 different sets of winter clothes. I'll give you a hint as to how cold it was here. There's a place called Hell, Michigan. Hell was -32 degrees wind chill. So Hell had literally frozen over twice. It was colder here, so we can actually say that Ohio was colder than Hell.
That's too cold, man. That's too cold.
You just don't leave the house. Like I took the internet and the mixer and the camera home, and I just worked from home for 2 days. Like you figure it out. It ain't so bad, but you know, I had to put air in my tires going to my grandfather's house Christmas Eve. That was a little rough, but like how long are you actually putting air in your tire when it's a little low? You know, you get the little warning. It says low air pressure. So you put air in your tire. What are you outside for 2, 3, 4 minutes? Yeah. Ain't nothing.
Wow.
So did anybody get anything good and nerdy for Christmas?
I'm wearing it.
Nice.
Jenna got a matching one. Well, it's not really matching. She just got a straight black shirt. She was like, here you go. We got to wear it tomorrow. It was a Christmas Eve present. Because she's like, you got to wear it tomorrow. And I was like, all right.
How about you, Mark? Did you get anything good and nerdy?
I got so I'm a big Death Cab for Cutie fan, and my friend found something that I didn't know existed, which is already a feat in itself, because I'm also and so he got me from their 2011 tour a trading card set of Death Cab for Cutie. Had it put in a nice 4-card frame, and it was actually a 5-card set. So the 5th card was crew, but it didn't fit in the map, which is fine. But it was the 4 main band members, which back then included Chris Walla. And I just got a little bit sad because I'm like, oh yeah, he brought a lot to this band. So,
Yeah,
but actually, Death Cab's last album was pretty good. Like probably their best album in like 7 years or so. So,
yeah. My nephew got me the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on vinyl, the soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
from Mondo, right?
Yeah, from Mondo. That was and like it's not even here yet. Like they had to print off the order form and the receipts going, it's coming. It'll get here when it gets here. And I'm like, that's okay because Christmas isn't for a whole year. So it's not like I'm going to listen to it next week.
Right.
So that was actually the only nerdy gift I got.
Really? Okay.
I got a lot. This year for me was a very large, like I have practical things I need year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got gift certificates to buy to get brakes put on my car, or gas cards, or all of my grandparents got me grocery store gift cards.
Yeah.
Well, so I could go buy provisions for the office. Like it was a very practical Christmas for Kyle. Except like then I got a card today in the mail from the Christmas witch, aka Mark, some sort of wizard, which we'll get into later. But just know that if you're on Mark's Christmas list, whatever you've done is inadequate.
I mean, it's about giving for me more. I appreciate when people appreciate it. That's what your gift is, the appreciation. That's what I tell people. So
well, and it's like I said this to my sister because like I got my nephew like 30 Hot Wheels cars and books and other stuff, and she's talking to me about how much did you spend on Jackson this year, and I go, I have no idea. She goes, really? I go, no, because I'm the kind that if I see something I think you like, I'll buy it for you and just you can have it. I don't wait for gift giving times. But that also means, did I get Natalie a Christmas present, or was that thing I gave her, was that like in October? You know what I mean? Like I wind up Christmas Eve having to go to like the store to be like, I have to get something for my sister and brother-in-law. Gee, I hope they like garbage bags and tinfoil. Or that episode of Friends where they shop at the gas station.
Yeah.
And it was like, you get windshield wipers and brake fluid. I don't own a car.
I think, here in Texas, and I guess it depends on your state rules, but I have a lot of people that would probably prefer something from the gas station in the form of lottery tickets. So I feel like you could do a lot of gas station shopping and be successful.
Yeah, no, it's like, but that's my big problem, right? Like I bought my dad a flamethrower. Not a real not like one of these, like, from The Simpsons, but one of those.
Not from the thing
right.
With Kurt Russell, yeah.
But I bought him one of those ones that you use for like lighting a charcoal grill or a smoker, with the big like pop can end on it. And the one we had, they call it a Texas matchstick. Because there's a real long pole with a thing on the end that gas comes out of, and you got to hold a lighter kind of like this and hope you keep your arm, right? Well, I bought him one that now has like like a little clicker, so it's got a flint on it, so it auto ignites. So like when we did a barbecue competition, I spent like 6 months with no arm hair up to here, like because I burned it all off in a gas explosion. That's not a thing now. So, but like I gave that to my dad in October when I got it.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I'm like, that's what I'm getting, Dad. I just gave it to him because now you can use it. So I don't know. I'm weird. I'm bad at Christmas. But like my Christmas this year was dictated by a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Sure.
My nephew and my cousin's kid. So I played a lot of trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My hips hurt from crawling around on the ground. Trucks.
Yeah.
So did anybody hear any nerd news over the break?
There's a whole bunch of DC clatter. Whole bunch. Like I'm gonna put it to you. I'm gonna put it to you this way. I'm very much in the camp of wait and see. Yes, I'm upset that certain people have left, getting recast. Yes, but I would not go as far as some of the just pure hatred James Gunn is getting right now. Holy smokes. Like some of the stuff that I'm reading from people, I'm like, y'all, I love Superman's my number one. Always has been, always will be. I'm an unapologetic Superman fan. But relax, folks. I'm upset too. I'm upset about it. But man, people get crazy with this. That's most of what I've heard for most of the week.
How about you, Mark? Did you hear anything interesting in the
No, just like you said, the continued fallout from that. I did see that Mondo's releasing the Werewolf by Night soundtrack, by the way, so I'm happy about that as well. But and just when I the news I'm waiting on is something we haven't heard yet, which is what is Netflix going to do with the seemingly insurmountable success of Wednesday? Because I finally started watching that over the
So good.
weekend, and it's incredible. And I just wonder, like, okay, so are you going to do like a season 2 and 3 and 4 and make us tired like everything else? Or are you going to reinvent your reinvention of the wheel and have like a Pugsley standalone series next out of nowhere or something like that? Because I'm telling you, the dynamic between Wednesday and Thing alone, it's like just give this thing 3 seasons at least.
I haven't finished. I'm watching 2 episodes a week, and we took last week off because the person I'm watching it with was feeling under the weather, and I didn't want to take a risk going into Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm only through episode 4. Which
Me
can
too.
I
I
just
just
tell
finished
you?
that.
I've never felt more like a crackhead than I do waiting to watch more episodes of Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like episode 4 ends on this cliffhanger about this character that we kind of like after the dance, and like you don't know what you don't know. And I'm like, if
Mhm.
something happened to that kid, I'm gonna be big pissed.
Hmm.
Now I've had to wait 2 weeks to watch it. Like
Yeah.
I'm over here just, like I've got track marks in my arm from itching from waiting. But I really do feel like they could do several seasons. I feel like doing too many seasons would be bad, but doing several seasons. And then what I want are like mini movies, maybe not full movies. But I would love to. She's telling all these stories about, oh, I had a cousin who lived for 5 years in a Tibetan monastery. Oh, was he a monk? No, he was a prisoner. I want that movie, right? I want all the Cousin It stuff, all the, I want a Lurch. What does Lurch do on his day off? Like a short, right? Lurch's day off, and it's just Lurch sitting in his pajamas, like hitting his head on things. But yeah, a Pugsley series or any excuse to put Luis Guzman on my television, I will take.
Yeah.
So
I would have never thought in my wildest dreams that I would want a Nancy Drew like Wednesday series. But now that they've given it to me, I'm like, please don't take it away just yet.
right,
They have some more.
right. Can you just adapt Nancy Drew novels and Hardy Boys novels into
Yes.
Wednesday stories?
Yes. And
I would be
Jenna
down.
Ortega is just amazing. I haven't watched X. I know she's in that movie X, but she is phenomenal in this. The fact she never blinks, like, and she's so deadpan. Like Jenna and I watched this, like when it dropped, we watched the whole thing. We were up to like 5 a.m, and we still talk about it, and we'll still go back and watch an episode just to do it. So really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the other thing that's crazy to me is that the girl who plays her roommate, and I can't think of her roommate's name right now.
Enid.
Huh?
Enid.
Enid, yes, is more goth IRL than Jenna Ortega, which is just hysterical to me. So yeah, I'm in love with that. I'm excited to see more of it. Like, I'm excited to sit and watch the rest of that series. That series is great. One of the stories that I heard this week, my parents are big into the Yellowstone program. They quite like the Yellowstone, and there's a spin-off of that called 1923 that has Han Solo and
Helen Mirren.
Yeah, Helen Mirren. But one of the stories is that Dame Helen Mirren, is now an action figure, thanks to Shazam 2. What famous actress needs an action figure that doesn't have one?
Aubrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn as what? In what role?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sure we can find some like high end Breakfast at Tiffany's doll, but just what about just as herself?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like what role, like, because like there's plenty of like Ripley action figures from Alien,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what isn't there? Like Thelma and Louise action figures. So you get a Gina Davis action figure,
In the car holding hands.
right? Like that's a whole like one of those Funkos where they recreate a movie scene. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's one of those for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
I got one for you.
Uh-huh.
It's a 2-pack. Okay, a 2-pack of Betty Davis and Joan Crawford from Whatever Happened to Baby Jane
All right.
with a rat accessory for anyone who's seen.
I was thinking Sissy Spacek on stage covered in blood from Carrie. Like
They haven't
that
they
would
haven't done that before.
I've not seen one.
Okay.
But like, can you see that as a 112? Like
Oh yeah.
with all the accessories and stuff. So
See,
What about you,
I would
Jay?
go. I would go with Sissy Spacek as well, but not Carrie. But for her role as Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter,
okay.
not exactly sure what specific scene, but just pick one from that movie because she was great in that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one. So I think the vote is 2-1 Sissy Spacek.
Yeah, sounds like it. That's fine. That's fine.
I mean, I'm not saying we can't make a whole line of toys here, but we definitely agree that Sissy Spacek needs to be in the line. Maybe just interchangeable heads. You know, one Sissy Spacek toy with multiple heads. So, Christopher McQuarrie, who directed the last Mission Impossible, says that he would be in to join the James Gunn DCU, but only if they cast I can't say her last name, Palm whatever, who plays Mantis in whatever movie that is. So
Klimtif?
yeah, Clementif. What role could you see her playing in the DCU?
Let's see. So we've seen her play the heroic kind of role with Mantis. What if she was like Lady Shiva or one of the Al Ghuls?
That's an option. What do you think, Mark?
I was actually gonna say Lady Shiva also but that's because I was thinking about her from the Birds of Prey stuff I do on the side. So
yeah, Birds of Prey wouldn't be bad. I'm trying to think. The only thing I've ever seen her in is Guardians and that kind of stuff. She was in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, she was one of the patrons in the bar that they go to.
She was a dancer, uncredited, so she's already in the DCU. So she's got to just keep playing uncredited dancer, apparently. No, I'm trying to think of what else I've seen her in, and nothing that I've seen her in.
For me, it was an episode of Black Mirror. And recently, she had like a cameo in Bullet Train.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so I have seen her in something other than Marvel movies. I saw her in Bullet Train. See, here's my thought, and this is just me, based solely on the Guardians Christmas special. I would like to see her be the new Harley Quinn. Replace Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Because she could do the action and do the comedy. And, like, she's standing next to Dave Bautista and Kevin Bacon, completely holding her own and taking the whole screen. So she could play a Harley Quinn or a Harley Quinn type. Yeah, Punchline would be great. Something to that effect where it's completely unmoored, leading lady, but you wouldn't think so kind of role. So it'd be interesting to see. And I think that director, I mean, just based on his Mission Impossible stuff, would be a good fit in James Gunn's DCU. Okay. Well, I guess it's time to talk about 2023 because this is our last episode before New Year's.
Yeah.
Mark, based on what we know is coming out, what are you excited to see in 2023 movie, film, television wise?
I want to see if the new Night Court is watchable. I really, because that's mid-January, and I want to see what's going on there.
January 17th.
Yeah. I want to see what that's all about.
I just resumed my watching of the Night Court original series. I'm on season 7. I will finish before the new one starts. Jay, do you have something that is kind of on your horizon that you're going, all right, this is the thing?
Believe it or not, Blue Beetle. I'm so excited. I've touted this every time I talk about the character. That has got to be the most comic accurate suit I have seen in a movie since Deadpool. I love that actor. I love that actor in Cobra Kai. So I'm super excited to see it. Of course, again, being a huge Superman fan, it's going to be kind of nice to see a character we haven't really seen live action before, aside from Smallville for an episode. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I think for me, like immediately first top of the thing is Dungeons and Dragons. I want to see if a gelatinous cube can hold their own on screen with Chris Pine. Right? Like if a movie there one other movie in my knowledge has featured a gelatinous cube and it was Onward, and that movie was fire. The movie was so good. So if just based on gelatinous cubes alone, Dungeons and Dragons is an Oscar nominated movie. Based solely on gelatinous cubes. I too am very excited for Blue Beetle. I'm excited to see Shazam 2. Not superhero wise, there's a movie called Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah.
That I'm excited for. And Killers of the Flower Moon. So I'll throw that one out there too, just because that's one of those, those art house movies that like Kyle likes. And by art house movies, I mean movies directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. Art house.
Yeah.
I have a question. What do you guys know about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
Oh my goodness.
I've just kept my blinders on for that one.
I don't know how much of the late 80s, early 90s y'all remember, but do you remember when they were taking all these childhood things like Rumpelstiltskin? They made a horror movie. There was a Pinocchio horror movie called Pinocchio's Revenge. They started doing, yeah. Well, I didn't have cable growing up, so whatever came on network television is what I watched. When I saw this, it reminded me of that, but I was like, really? I mean,
all right. How do we feel as a group about Wonka? With Timothy Chalamet as Willy Wonka. Does he have to sing Pure Imagination in order for this movie to be a success?
No, he shouldn't.
Oh.
Okay, what if it's the one from TikTok where it's OSHA violations?
That might I would
Or
like
from
that.
Family Guy, Pure Inebriation.
Yeah.
Like,
See, that's the movie I want to see.
come with
like
me,
a
and we'll
whole-
be in a world of pure inebriation. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that movie's called The Hangover. Mark, do you have anything else you're looking forward to? Anything like that's maybe a little bit out of our normal realm?
I mean, not out of our normal realm as far as fandoms and collecting and stuff, but the Barbie movie, especially after seeing that trailer, which is like, in a lot of people's minds, a good trailer because it showed you the characters, but that we have no idea what this is going to be about. We just know that it's directed by Greta Gerwig and like co-written by the saddest man alive. So, I mean, the fact that Noah Baumbach is doing a Barbie movie, we should have just stopped Hollywood. Like that's going to be it for me. I think. Like, how are you going to match the irony of that from this point ever?
This is what I can't. This is what I can't get over with that. Margot Robbie as Barbie, Ryan Gosling as Ken, Will Ferrell, Helen Mirren, Emma McKay, Ariana Greenblatt, Nicola Coughlan, Kate McKinnon, Simu Liu. So Shang-Chi is in it. Connor Swindell, Rhea Perlman, like Michael Cera. There are America Ferrera. The kid who's the doctor in Doctor Who. Look, why are all these people in a Barbie movie?
Well, I think I told you the answer.
Noah Baumbach
and Greta Gerwig.
Yeah. Here's what you know what I will love. What I would love, it's just me. If this is actually a spin-off of Sandman, and it's Barbie and Ken from, from the house where she lives, and it's like this really sick and twisted Barbie and Ken story.
It might be.
I hope.
Well, it can't be any worse than what was that movie where they had a whole bunch of. It was a terrible movie. It's called like Movie 32 or Movie 42 or something like that, where it had like Emma Stone and Justin Long as a Robin character, Hugh Jackman, Kieran Culkin. It was supposed to be a comedy, but it was just like terrible. All that star power behind it was terrible. I'm hopeful though, because the trailer does look good. Like, I mean, it's a Barbie movie. I don't know how much we can expect from it. But
yeah. Okay, let me put this one on you guys. In a year where we don't know what's going to happen from DC, by and large. I mean, we kind of know, but we don't really know what we're going to find out. And where Marvel seems to be in a weird kind of nebulous place. What should other studios who are working in this field be trying to do? So, Valiant had Bloodshot, but that movie kind of got killed by a pandemic. We've seen things like Sweet Tooth come out on Netflix, and some of this stuff. The Boys is successful on Prime. What should other companies who are playing in this space be looking to do?
I've personally always wondered, because, and this comes from the fact that Gears of War is finally getting a movie, but it's going to be on Netflix. With these streaming services to do something like that, I think now if you're going to have a movie on a streaming service, especially one like Gears of War that actually has tons and tons of lore to it, I wish that these places would do like a series. It doesn't have to be 12 episodes or anything like that. It could be 6 to 8 very tight episodes, and then lead it into their Netflix original movie. That way you can actually care Get a lot of backstory on the characters. You can actually care for them instead of having people who've probably never played Gears of War just go into this movie and you have the 2 hours to. I mean, it's good writing if you can get people to do that. I'm just saying, if you have the option to have a movie on a streaming service, because I think Stephen King kind of wanted to do that with The Dark Tower, where there was going to be a movie and then there was going to be a show on TV and then there was going to be another movie, but that never went through. I just wonder why none of the streaming services have tried to do something like that before. Because I would do that with some of these other publishers. Like Netflix, you're losing all your Marvel stuff, you're using all your DC stuff. Like, there's other publishers out there.
Mark, do you have a thought?
Yeah, in a similar kind of frame of thinking, they need to really focus on the streaming services, and I think smaller runs of seasons, so like the six to 8 episodes. And some of these companies have already, they're attempting to do this. Like, I think Brian K. Vaughan has a first look deal from Amazon, but Paper Girls really didn't have the acclaim that it probably deserved. And Invincible is very successful, but it's in like that adult animated space, right? But they just have to like stick with it, because these streaming services are going to become sort of more bulky and powerful as we go on, and some of them are going to fold into other ones, I believe. But I mean, and Disney has their own thing going with Marvel, obviously. So you're going to have to focus on probably Amazon, unless you sign a deal with HBO Max, but they're not even going to call it that anymore. So I think Amazon is probably the best bet for these smaller publishers to sign like first look deals with, which some have already done. But you have to simultaneously stay true to the source material and make it good with universal appeal, which is hard to do when that sometimes the very loud and small fan base is very negative and angry. So it kind of cuts out the ability for you to draw in the crowd, because they're like, oh, well, if they read the book and they don't like it, I'm not even going to bother with it. So it's hard. I think you're gonna have to go for lesser known or maybe even unknown entities. And I've seen a few of those that have worked. What was the one on Netflix that is based on the graphic novel about the girl who's sort of like coming into superpowers?
I know which one you're talking, because it has the girl from It in it.
Yes, that one.
I Am Not Okay.
I Am Not Okay. I like that a lot. And like, it's just not coming back. It had a great ending and it's just not coming back. So I don't know what you do in that case.
Yeah.
Do you think the answer is formatting? Like, we've held strong for years in the entertainment business to 23-minute, 42-minute, 90-minute, or whatever that winds up being, 86-minute, or 2 hours, right? 124-minute, whatever, these different formatting is the key. Doing something like what they did with Sherlock, right, where they're mini movies. There are 3 movies that come out 3 consecutive weeks, but you're really just looking at 7.5 hours of content, or 4.5 hours of content, or where instead of worrying about how it's released in terms of formatting, you worry about just shoot your whole story and then cut it where it needs to be. Right? So sometimes episodes are half hour, sometimes they're an hour and a half, sometimes they're 20 minutes, sometimes they're 42 minutes, sometimes and just tell the story. Do you think it's going to take some of these streamers getting creative in terms of the way things are produced or the way things are cut, rather than saying, okay, let's take this story and make it into a 42-minute episode? Right? So in Sandman, right, I'm going to go back to Sandman because that's the example that I've been thinking about this for. There are stories in Sandman, the book, that lend themselves to 2-hour movies. There are stories in Sandman, the book, that lend themselves to 15-minute shorts. If that show came out more that way, right? So Episode 1 is longer, episode 2 is shorter, episode 3 is in the middle, episode 4 is shorter, episode 5 is longer. However that shakes out, do you think that will turn off the viewer? Or do you think it might lead to higher view ratings because, well, I watched that for an hour and a half, and well, the next segment's only 20 minutes. I'll hang out, I'll watch another episode, right? It would get that binge viewer, or do you think it would turn people off because it would feel weird?
No, I think if you make it good, it's good, which is hard because you pump all this money and time into something and then it may not turn out good. But another good example would be what Marvel did with Werewolf by Night. The second that was over, a lot of fans were like, well, why don't they do this all the time? Because it's like it's a one and done, but it leaves me wanting more. Like it's a story, it's done, but I can go back and pick this up. The Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special is the same way. I think holiday specials would be a great way to introduce characters or keep storylines from, like Elsa Bloodstone going. But no, the problem is just going to be that viewers are extremely fickle. I think the rules have gone out the window ever since HBO, and really since Effects, because Effects started doing that thing where like, oh, the Shield's 42 minutes this week. Well, now it's an hour and 7 minutes. Well, now it's 53 minutes. And same thing with Sons of Anarchy, and all the dramas that they do. So if you get the viewership, it doesn't really matter. And because we can like hit play and pause whenever we want, for all intents and purposes, I don't think that's really an issue. It's just like you said, it's going to be, does this story deserving of a long form movie and budget, or can we do this episodically? And I think if you're Netflix and you own Sandman, I think you have to get with Neil Gaiman and figure out, okay, hey, we have in the budget to make 5 Sandman movies over the next 3 years. Which 5 stories? Because then you're kind of taking a little bit of the guess out of it by having like this master planner at the forefront of it, and then knowing like, well, whatever you do, don't try to jam this story into a 43-minute episode, but this movie that you want to make 2 hours, it actually probably fits better into an hour space because it's, there's a lot of extra stuff in there that we could even spin off into short. I'm all for the multi links and multi format.
Yeah, see, if I'm a studio exec, I'm saying, okay, Neil Gaiman, we're making Sandman. We have $10 million to make Sandman. I don't care how it comes out so long as I make my money, right? Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it should come out in a way that's going to be the most profitable. It shouldn't be, well, we have a $1 million per episode budget. Here's $10 million. Go make it. We'll figure out how to release it after. And I get that that's not good for every format. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can't do that if you're making a primetime drama a la Taylor Sheridan. But you can if you're making a streaming drama. So there's something to do that. All right, Mark, I've wanted to get your opinion on this since the news broke Thursday of last week.
Okay.
Courts have decided that the studio that made Yesterday can be held accountable and can be financially liable because Anna de Armas was not in the movie, but she was in the trailer. Is that the bulk of the story, Jay? Am I getting this right? Because you're shaking your head because you've heard me yell about this movie, this thing. Mark, what do you think about this decision?
There's a couple of big lawsuits going on against entertainment right now. One is against the studio that makes Fortnite, and granted, the big bulk of that lawsuit was about selling, like, Kids Privacy Act, which is a no-brainer, and then also selling things to gamers just because they turned off their sleep mode or whatever. But they're also a part of that lawsuit about how video games are too fun and it makes them addictive or whatever. So that this goes in sort of in line with that, where it's like, here's what I don't get. If they go, hey, I paid $4 because this lady was supposed to be in the movie and she wasn't. Okay, here's the $50 gift card. Okay, thanks. Like, it doesn't need to be a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, I don't think. And also, like, are people? I guess I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm looking at IMDb and that's how I decide if I want to watch a movie or not, or Rotten Tomatoes. So are people actually watching trailers and going, "Oh, I want to go purchase this product now because I saw this trailer"?
I will tell you that for me, it's half and half, right? I
Okay.
want to see Dungeons and Dragons. I'm excited to see Dungeons and Dragons because of the trailer. I don't watch trailers for a lot of stuff, but I saw that and I'm like, oh, this is a movie I would have made fun of had I not seen the trailer, and now I'm excited to see it. If I go and Chris Pine isn't in it, and there are no gelatinous cubes, I'm going to be low-key pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to sue the studio because they decided to cut those two things out of the movie. So, but then also, like, I don't watch trailers. I go based on the IP for a lot of the movies, right? Like, because so many movies I see are based on known IP. So I go see a Shazam movie based on the fact that it's a Shazam movie, not based on the trailer. And I'm told that the trailer has a joke based on the Fast and the Furious in it. And if I knew that for sure, I might not go see the movie because I hate the Fast and the Furious. Like, but that's kind of why I'm a bad judge of this too, right? Like, sometimes a trailer will sell me, and other times a trailer, me not knowing, makes it better. So I wanted to get your opinion on it because, I know you think about this kind of stuff. So.
That's still crazy to me. That's like, hey, so can I sue the people that got mad at the Shazam trailer that had the joke about throwing a truck at a dragon and I love my life? They hated that so much that they took it out of the trailer. Can I sue somebody because they took that out because I thought that was funny?
Wait, there was a truck being thrown at a dragon?
Like in the Comic-Con trailer, I think for Shazam, he says the joke, or he says a line that's like, "I just hit a dragon with a truck. I love my life." And people complained about that line being so corny so much that they took it out of the trailer. And it's not good. And David Sandberg said it's not even going to be in the movie. That's a
thing. I want to sue those people.
But was Anna de Armas not in the movie at all, or did she just have a minor role? Not at all. Okay. Well, the confusing part about that lawsuit was that they had purchased it for $3.99, which means they saw it well after it came out. So, was the trailer? Why didn't the company never release a recut of the trailer?
Well, and that was the argument I was having with Dan Wickline the other day. My statement is that why not make the movie and then cut the trailer? Right? Why not slow the production process down just a little bit? Right? The trailer comes out 3 weeks before the movie comes out. 6 weeks before the movie comes out. Whatever it is. We don't need a trailer for Avatar, The Shape of Water, The Last Airbender, or whatever the hell that movie is, 2.5 years before the movie comes out. Right? Like, that was my line, is if they had cut yesterday, had seen the final cut of the movie, and then cut the trailer out of that, then we wouldn't have had this problem. So why not change the fundamental way the studio system works so that you can't get sued? Like, cars have seatbelts so they can't get sued for not having seatbelts. Like, I mean, why not? Do you think studios will change the way they do things to prevent from being sued, or do you think that it'll just turn into just paying off nuisance suits all the time?
I don't know. I just think it's a weird thing with these trailers. Like you were saying, yeah, we don't really need a trailer for a movie that's like 2 years out. Okay, but we're in a society where it's instant gratification. We want it now. I want the Shazam movie yesterday. Like, you're in pre-production or post-production for it right now, I think, or they're already done with it or whatever. Well, it's done. Why can't I have it now? Like, I don't want to be that person about it, but I would imagine that somebody who's going to sue somebody because somebody wasn't their part was cut in a trailer. I would probably be that person that's like, well, you're already done with the movie. Why isn't it out? So I don't think it really matters what the movie studio does, whether it's release a trailer closer to when the movie's going to be out or whatever. Somebody's always going to find a problem with something. Somebody's always going to get sued for something when it comes to stuff like this. Somebody's always going to find something wrong with something. That's just unfortunately how it is nowadays. That's just what I think about it.
Cool.
I think, and also, Kyle, do you remember way back when Lowe's Theaters was sued because they would show 20 minutes of trailers, and there was that lady that was late picking her kid up from daycare because the movie didn't start at the printed time in the newspaper?
No, but
So
that
then
doesn't shock me.
So then they had to put an asterisk that said this is when the trailers start, not the actual movie. So the actual runtime. They basically had to start putting the runtime with trailers.
No, I don't remember that, but that's dumb.
Have you ever been to the movies before?
Right.
Like,
do you not know how this works?
And also, people have been complaining nonstop about how the fact that, well, the trailers are showing us everything, and I'm not surprised anymore. Well, those people that watched yesterday were surprised. So there we go.
My problem is the trailers tell us too much,
Right.
and then I have preconceptions.
look,
Yeah.
Eventually we're going to get to a point where studios are just going to release the title card and have some dramatic music playing behind it, and that's it. We're not even going to get trailers and teasers anymore because people complain about. Well, right, but you're a little bit different than you're differently
right.
built
It would
than most
save
of
me
those
from
guys.
having to take my glasses off and cover my ears in the movie theater.
Exactly, but I mean, people complain that teasers don't show enough. They complain about trailers that show either too much or not enough. There's no happy medium for any of this stuff.
It's true. All right, we got a couple minutes. We should talk about new books that are out this week. There's a couple.
Just real quick, I'll segue into this. So should I now then sue comic book publishers whenever they put a variant cover out of a character that's not in the actual book? Okay, go ahead.
God, I wish you would. Save me a lot of trouble. All right. So some books to be on the lookout for this week, and I'm not going to do my pull list because I don't have Jen and Brainy here to also go through stuff. Books of Slaughter, #1, continuing the House of Slaughter and the Something is Killing the Children series. Dead Boy Detectives, #1, from the Sandman universe. Written by Pornsak Pichetshote. Did I say it right? I think I said it right.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. Mortimer the Lazy Bird from Scout Comics. And there are a couple of Night of the Living Dead books coming out in the coming weeks from American Mythology Press that I think will be worth checking out. And that's it for me. Those are the #1s. Tales from Earth 6 and Star Wars The High Republic The Blade will certainly be popular books this week as well. So, for our last few minutes here, I had an idea. I sold Jay Uncoming so that he could be here for the uncovering Mark as a gift-giving warlock of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had an idea that it's, I think, what I'm going to do on my show tonight later. Nerdy New Year's resolutions. Is there an area of your nerd world where you feel inadequate or underdeveloped or just lacking that you want to try to develop in the next year? And what other nerdy resolutions might you make? Nerdy New Year's resolutions.
So blind spots, right?
Yeah, blind spots, or like for instance, I played HeroClix at a very competitive level for a long time. Haven't played in years. I would like to, in the new year, pick up some HeroClix and play a little bit and just see how the game has changed and that kind of stuff. They announced the not Chris Evans, the Warhammer 40K movie with
Henry Cavill.
Used to be Superman.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill. I'd like to learn more about that game because I always thought that those guys were just smelly. Learn about that game a little more. What are some weak spots or shortcomings or places that you'd like to improve your nerd cred in the new year?
This year was my very first con I got to go to. I would definitely like to go to more cons. I am the hermit person that the commercial talks about for the experience. So I'd like to get out more and eventually get to a point where I can cosplay or something. I've never done that before. So more cons, eventually cosplay.
I have advice for that really quickly. When you finally decide to cosplay, something that's comfortable with pockets and comfortable shoes. That's a good way to not overdo it, and especially if they have like a satchel or a backpack accessory, even better.
It's why I try to cosplay as dudes who wear suits.
Yeah,
because you can just wear black shoes and pants essentially. So, I'm Kingpin. Am I really King? No, but
yeah. So I've been meaning to do this one for a while, but I feel like I have a huge blind spot when it comes to anime. And I feel like anime is like this massive thing that it's like everyone has a different opinion. And if they say something like, well, you can go with the classic like Dragon Ball, it's like, well, no, I can't because there's 1,900 episodes. So I think the first thing I'm going to knock off my list, because I do go to cons and I see these people at every con I've been to for the last 20, I think I'm going to try to watch the entire series of My Hero Academia. Because that's just one that, whether it's like the best ever or whatever, it keeps coming up over and over and over the last few years. And they're always at the convention, so I like to know who's at the convention signing and taking photos and stuff. So I think because I will by default say that Cowboy Bebop is my favorite because I've seen every episode because there's only 26 episodes. So, and then also Big O because Stephen Blum also voiced that, and that was both on Toonami at the time in the late 90s, early 2000s when I was watching Adult Swim on an everyday basis. So I think anime and then promoting indie comics, like actually reading, like buying, reading, and promoting an indie comic at least once a month.
For me, it's kind of the opposite of Mark. Like I already kind of talked about things. I want to take more of an interest in the big two.
Okay.
So much of my life is niche publishers, niche writers, people who are small, and trying to give them a platform. To like, I buy Spider-Man, but I haven't read Spider-Man in months. Caring about the big two. And I will even go so far as to say the big three, and including more Image in that. Well, Image has counted for me because it's creator. It's a whole thing. But the other thing for me, and this is going to be a hard one for me, is going to be not forming my opinions on comic book related culture until I've experienced them. So don't form an opinion on what a movie should be until you're sitting in the movie watching it. Don't form an opinion on what the show should be after one episode of a show. And at the same time, get caught up on all the Marvel crap. There are like 13 Marvel shows I haven't watched now.
Same.
Because in my brain, I know I'm not going to like them. But if I'm not forming my opinion until I watch them. So that's gonna be for me. That's the big thing. Like some gaming stuff, getting back into the gaming world, but really it's going to be caring about the big two because it is so much of the industry. And then not forming my opinions on the stuff they do until after I've experienced it. And if I can get Jay to a couple more conventions, that'll be a bonus. I think, though, Mark, one of our goals for you and I this year, and if Justin was here, I'd put it on him, is to do Nerd News Now live from a convention where we're all in the same room.
That would be awesome. And I'd be willing to travel to that. So
I think we can maybe make that happen, especially with the number of conventions that are popping up in and around Texas, that we could make it relatively easy for everyone but me.
Yeah.
But because I don't mind traveling either, we make it work. So, all right. So, anything else for the good of the order?
No, not
Mark,
really.
I want to publicly thank you for my favorite Christmas present this year.
Yeah, did you like the joke also?
The inside is what really made it.
Yeah.
Like it's my favorite Christmas present of the year because it was the most unexpected, and I really did appreciate it. So welcome. I'll read the thing for the last time this year, if you're okay with that.
Go for it.
Thank you for watching Nerd News Now, part of the Kingdom of Geekdom on Woodlands Online, sponsored by the Adventure Begins Comics and Games and Space Cadets Collection. Check out our other shows on Woodlands Online, like Weekly Fallout Sports Talk, The Adventure Begins Show, For Reals, The Best You, Between the Trees Business Talk, and much more. You can watch all these on Woodlands Online and on our partner station KVQT HD21 over the air on your television. All these shows and more on Roku right now. Just search and add Woodlands Online TV to your streaming lineup. Now you can listen to the podcast versions of these shows on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon, and anywhere else fine podcasts are distributed. So, for the absent Miss Jen and Brainy, and all of our friends who have been here like twice this year, and Jay, who this is his first episode, and Mark, I've been Kyle, and this has been Nerd News Now.